Good morning. It is Friday and I am back with episode 7 of the 168 Hours of Productivity show. And today I am super excited because I am going to be sharing a little experiment with you because we're going to be talking about time budgets today. And time budgets is something that I am really passionate about. Hey, thanks for joining. We're just getting started. So you haven't missed this awesome experiment that I am about to do. I was just saying that today we are going to be talking about time budgets and how you can use a time budget to find more hours in your week. But before we get started on what a time budget is and how to use it, I want to show you this really neat experiment that will put things into a bit of perspective. So here we have an empty glass, and this glass represents your week. You have 168 hours in your week. Every single week you have 168 hours. Then we have these lovely potatoes here, and these potatoes represent anything that you really want to do. That could be your passion project, that could be just finding a few hours to spend in the bathtub all by yourself. Whatever it is, it's what you absolutely want to do. It could even be reading. So these are your hours, the potatoes. Then we have these lovely little marbles right here. And these marbles, they represent everything else, such as family time, all the things that you also want to do, but that you need to fit in throughout your week. So think of these as primarily family time, all the in-between time. And then lastly, we have the rice. And the rice is everything else that makes up your week. And that could be everything from work chores to house chores to your 9-to-5 job if you are working full time. And it's also your sleep time. So it's everything else. So let's look a little bit about how we might fill up our week with all of these things in mind. Because a lot of us have a tendency to go through our week, and when we start the week, we don't necessarily plan it or prioritize it. So what that means is that we end up filling it with our everything that we need to do, all the boring things, all the work and the chores, all of that. Okay, so we're gonna add that into the jar. And remember, the jar, that is your life. This represents your 1 week, okay? Okay, so it's filling up pretty good here. As you can see, it's getting there. It's pretty full. Now, we do want to make time for family, right? So we want to make sure we add in these marbles here. Okay, perfect. We still have room for those. But now, what happens when we want to have time for ourselves? Okay, let's start. Okay, great. We found 1 hour. Uh-oh, already having a bit of a problem. Eesh, definitely couldn't fit that last hour in there. So is it any wonder that you go through the week and you've done all these things, but you didn't find that 1 or 2 or 3 hours for yourself that you really wanted to work on your passion project or to just do some reading for yourself? So you might say, well, it's not going to fit in there. That's the case. There's just not enough hours in the week. Great, let's take a look at that. So just give me a second here as I dismantle this all over again and find all of our little family times here. Okay, perfect. Now the real trick is going to be to attempt to get this back into the jar without making a giant mess. This would be great if I had a little spout. See? I'm tempted to put on a little bit of Jeopardy music while we're going on. Okay, I'm almost there. 1 more minute. And okay, perfect. So you can verify I'm not cheating. It's the same amount of rice as I had before. But now let's plan our week a little opposite. Let's start by planning it with ourselves in mind first. Think of this situation of being on the airplane, and if something happens, you need to put on your own gas mask first. This is kind of the situation that we're going for here. So let's start with your hours. 1, 2, 3 hours. Great, they're all in here. And now let's add those valuable family hours as well. Perfect, they're in here. But how do we fit all this into the week? Let's take a look. Let's see. Keep going, keep going. And look at that. There is room for everything. There is room for yourself, there is room for your family, and there is room for your normal 9-to-5 job and all the sleep that you want to have. It's all about how we prioritize our week. So when we plan our week, every single week, we have this tendency to let everything else get in our way. But what I really want you to do is I want you to start your week with yourself in mind first. And you have to determine what it is that you want to do. So make very specific goals. If your goal is to read for 3 hours, plan that into your schedule. And that's where a time budget becomes really valuable. Now, we are on Instagram today, so unfortunately I can't share my screen. And Instagram also has this way of flipping everything around so that everything is opposite. But I still want to show you what a time budget looks like because I think it'll be very beneficial for you. And then once you have seen what it is, you can go onto my website and you can grab a free template that you can use to create your own perfect or model week afterwards. That's on winniestandish.com that you can grab that. Now, this is what a time budget week might look like. And I apologize for the opposite. I realize that everything is going to be hard for you to read, but I'll just kind of explain it because the color codes kind of show it itself. So what it is when you have a time budget, it's just a week and you fill it out by starting with your hours and your days. And this represents your full week. And I'm not gonna go into the nighttime because it's not valuable to have that in there as well. But if you do wanna go to bed earlier, you can definitely plan that in. So when you start to build this, pick different colors that represents what you want to do. So when you start with yourself, you want to start by adding those hours. And in this situation here, I chose purple for my absolute priority hours that I wanted to add in. And I started by adding them first. Again, remember the situation with the jar? We want to add the most important things to us that will keep us excited and going first. So add those to your time budget first thing. Then you're gonna want to add in your family time because that's absolutely important too. And it could also be recreational time. It could be just time with anyone you want to hang out with. And I realize we're in COVID right now, so we can't see people face to face, but that doesn't mean you can't schedule a Zoom call with one of your friends or family member. So prioritize it and add it in as the second thing. And then finally, at the end, you want to add in your work hours. And you're going to do that by just picking a third color. In this case, that was the green for me. And I added it in, and guess what? All of a sudden, all the hours fit. It's not that I decreased my work, it's just that I prioritize different things. And yes, this might mean that you won't be watching as much evening television or that Netflix show that you've been binging. But at the end of the week, you will have gone through it and you will have actually accomplished your goal of taking time for yourself by prioritizing yourself first. So that's why a time budget is really awesome, and it's just a great thing for you to do as a visual exercise. But the principle with it is really that every week when you plan your week, you just prioritize yourself first. What I like to do is I like to have this time budget that I create usually at the beginning of the year. It's kind of nice. It's a new year. We want to start things right. And then I take this and I print it and I put it in plain view. So on my wall or in my bedroom or even in my notebook, just so that I know every single week when I started that I had that intention of wanting to work on myself first so that I had a full cup to give to my family and even to my work later on. So I hope this has helped you to understand that if you prioritize yourself first, there absolutely will be hours for all the other things in the week. So go make your own jar, but fill it with yourself first. And that's it for me for this week. I will just make a quick note and let you know that come next week, I will be changing platforms. So this will no longer be a live show on Instagram, and it's only because there are just too many restrictions for what I am able to do. I would love to be able to share my screens and really get in depth with some of the tutorials that I want to show you in this coming year. So continue to follow my page and my Instagram stories, and I'll let you know where the live is going to be instead. But I promise you that you can still get all the recaps from the episodes right here. I will post them as soon as the episode is done every single week. So chances are you'll still grab it on Fridays. So have a great and productive week, and I can't wait to see you next week and learn all about how you started to prioritize yourself first. Have a great weekend, guys, and happy PA Day to those of you who are enjoying your kids a little extra today. Bye, guys.